Hey everybody, in the extra credit assignment for this week, I'm asking you to create 3 divs and style them so you can see them, giving them each a different color, and then play around with the pseudo-selector, the hover pseudo-selector, and see if you can add a transition to make a change happen when you hover over it in a nice kind of animated way. I tried to do that in the seminar to demonstrate, and we ran into some problems, and I got pretty confused. So I want to see, first of all, if I can make the problem I ran into happen again. Let's replicate it here, and then also try to solve it. You can see so far what I've got is 3 divs. I've given them all the same class name so I can style them together as a class, and I've given them individual IDs so I can style them individually. And first of all, let's style the class so we can give these things a size and a color so we can see them. So I'm going to do a height of 100 pixels, width of 100 pixels. Now they're taking up space on the page, although you can't see it because there's no color. So let's give them a background color of light gray. Oh, my divs. There we go. All right. So there are our divs. They're all running together. So let's give them a margin so we can see that they're actually separate. I'm going to do 5 pixels here. Okay. So there's our 3 divs. And then in class the other day, we styled the individual divs by their IDs. So I'll do hashtag div1 and just give it a background color. We'll color this one red. All right, that's working. And then we'll do the same thing for div2 and div3. So for div2, we'll make it goldenrod. And for div3, we'll make it green. And we've got kind of a stoplight thing going on here. So what I wanted to do next was to show you the hover pseudo-selector. And the idea behind hover is that you can create a CSS style that will only appear when you move your mouse over the object, which is pretty useful. And what I had tried to do was style my divs class here, and then :hover to get the pseudo-selector. And then I put in a background color of blue. And then I went to hover over these and nothing happened. And I was pretty confused. The reason nothing's happening here is that we style the class with a background color of light gray, and this mydivs class is hooked up with this mydivs class hover. So when I hover over it, it styles it with blue. But then the browser says, now I have to apply the ID styles. So after it changes to blue, a split second later, it changes it to red. So it's too fast for us to see, and it looks like it doesn't work. What I tried to do next was the right step. I went to apply this style to the individual ID. So I did hashtag div1 hover, and it still didn't work. And at that point, I was really flabbergasted. What's going on? And I think what had happened is I just hadn't refreshed the page or saved this. So let me try saving this and see if that makes a difference. Still not getting it to work. So what I'm going to do is force the HTML to update by erasing a character and putting it back in. See if that works. Aha, so now that works. So there's a little bit of quirkiness about CodePen. You got to make sure that the HTML is refreshed here. Saving was what I first tried. That didn't work this time, and then I just erased a character and put it back, and that put everything in place. Now, if I had done the styling of mydivs.hover or :hover with something that the color didn't cover up, we probably could have seen it. Let's try that right now. I'm going to try to put on a border. We'll make this pretty big, 5 pixels, solid, black. Okay. So that's showing up on our div1. It's not showing up on our other ones. Isn't that interesting? Let me try refreshing that again. Yeah, now it is. So see, I had to refresh the HTML again to get that to work. So a little bit of quirkiness there, but you can see now what the :hover pseudo-selector does. It's pretty powerful, and in fact, you can change this to alter almost any property you can think of. One of the cool things to do with this is add a transition timing. So we can say, I'm going to do this to the blue on div 1. We're going to say transition, and then what you do is you specify a property and then a number of a unit of time. So in seconds, usually. In this case, I'm just going to say all for the property because I could say background color there, but it's easier just to say all. So any property change is going to be covered by this transition. And I'm going to say 2 seconds, a nice long change. What this is going to do, well, I'll show you. Now it takes 2 seconds for it to change to blue. So you get a nice slow animation. You could ease that down to 1 second. That's maybe more reasonable. Or if you want to put in a subtle effect, maybe a third of a second, 0.3 seconds, 3/10 of a second, and you get a button that kind of pops forward for you. You can do all kinds of transitions like this. I'm going to go to the My Divs and put in transition all and also 2 seconds on this one. And what I'm going to do is say that we should, let's go ahead and update things here. Oh, I misspelled transition. That's why it's not working. Okay, now you can see the borders are slowly coming in with 2 seconds. And you'll notice this first one, the border comes in faster. That's because this transition part overrides this part. The ID takes precedence over the class. But let's try doing this. Let's add a change in size. So let's put the width at 300 pixels. Now, when I hover over this one, it actually puts the border on it and it grows to 300 pixels over that 2 seconds that I set for the transition. So the hover pseudo-selector does actually work. Just gotta be a little careful with it, and hopefully this is some help to allow you to get that extra credit assignment done. Thanks, everybody.